Welcome to DT tutorial. In this video we're looking at nutrition. So the other word for nutrition is feeding. Nutrition and feeding, they are synonyms. They mean the same thing. Nutrition, feeding. So what is nutrition or what is feeding? Nutrition is a process of obtaining and using nutrients from food to support growth, health, and overall well-being. So it is a process of obtaining and using nutrients, and the nutrients are usually from food. The process of obtaining them and using them to support growth, health, and overall well-being. This is what nutrition or feeding is all about. So just a quick analysis. In nutrition, an organism obtains and uses nutrients from food, and the nutrients can be carbohydrate, can be protein, it can be fats and oil, it can be mineral salts, it can be vitamins, and it can also be water. So that process in which an organism obtains and uses these nutrients from the food to support growth, health, and overall well-being of that organism, that is what nutrition is all about. So it's a process in which an organism obtains and uses nutrients from food, which can be carbohydrates, protein, fats, and oil, mineral salts, vitamins, or water to support growth, health, and overall well-being. So nutrition is a process of obtaining and using nutrients from food to support growth, health, and overall well-being. And basically we have two types of nutrition. The two types of nutrition are autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. So the first one, which is the autotrophic nutrition, is also called holophytic nutrition. So it's either you call it holophytic nutrition or autotrophic nutrition. They mean the same thing. So in this video we are concerned about the heterotrophic nutrition, the second type of nutrition. So what is heterotrophic nutrition? Heterotrophic nutrition is a type of nutrition carried out by organisms that are not capable of manufacturing their own food. It is a type of nutrition carried out by organisms that are not capable of manufacturing their own food. So the hallmark of the heterotrophic nutrition is that they cannot manufacture their own food, and that is why these organisms are, or this type of nutrition is referred to as dependent feeding. Remember I said the word nutrition is also known as feeding, so you can call it dependent nutrition or dependent feeding. That is the heterotrophic nutrition. It is a type of nutrition carried out by organisms that are not capable of manufacturing their own food. And basically we have four types of this heterotrophic nutrition. They are holozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition, and the parasitic nutrition. They are holozoic, saprophytic, symbiotic, and parasitic. These are the four basic examples of the heterotrophic nutrition: holozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition, and the parasitic nutrition. These are the four examples or the four types of the heterotrophic nutrition, which is also called dependent nutrition or dependent feeding. So this is very important. Let's look at this 2005 NECO question. Which of these is not an example of heterotrophic nutrition? Which of these is not an example? So the hallmark of this question is that which of them is not an example of heterotrophic nutrition? And we have looked at the four examples, the four basic types or the four basic examples of heterotrophic nutrition. They are holozoic nutrition, saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition, and the parasitic nutrition. So which of these is not an example of heterotrophic nutrition? So like I said, the hallmark of this question is the not. which of these options is not an example of heterotrophic nutrition? So, is it holozoic? It is not holozoic. Holozoic nutrition is a type and an example of heterotrophic nutrition. Is it holophytic? Yes. Holophytic is not an example of a heterotrophic nutrition. Holophytic nutrition is also called autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition. And this is the nutrition that is carried out by organisms that are capable of manufacturing their own food. And examples are algae and green plants. So is it parasitic? No. Parasitic nutrition is an example of a heterotrophic nutrition. Is it saprophytic? No. Saprophytic is an example of a heterotrophic nutrition. And is it symbiotic? No. Symbiotic nutrition is an example of a heterotrophic nutrition. So which of these is not an example of a heterotrophic nutrition? The correct answer to this question is option B, which is the holophytic nutrition. And like I said, it is also called the autotrophic nutrition, and it is exhibited by organisms that are capable of manufacturing their own food. And examples are the green algae and green plants. So like I've mentioned before, heterotrophic nutrition is a type of nutrition that is carried out by organisms that are not capable of manufacturing their own food. And I've said that the hallmark of this definition is that the organisms are not capable of manufacturing their own food. If they are capable of manufacturing their own food, that will be autotrophic nutrition, also called the holophytic nutrition. So the heterotrophic nutrition is also called dependent feeding or dependent nutrition, and there are 4 types or 4 examples: holozoic, saprophytic, symbiotic, and parasitic. So this is very important. So let's take the first one, which is the holozoic nutrition. So what is holozoic nutrition? Holozoic nutrition is a type of heterotrophic nutrition in which an organism obtains food as solid organic material, eat, digest, and absorbed into the body. So they obtain their food as solid organic material, they eat it, they digest it, and they absorb it into their body. And this type of nutrition is basically seen in animals. It's mostly seen in animals, but it can also be seen in some plants. And these plants are called carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants. That is, plants that can feed on flesh. And we're going to look at some examples. So, holozoic nutrition is a type of nutrition in which an organism obtains food as solid organic material. They eat it, digest it, and absorb it into the body. And like I said, it is mostly seen in animals, but it can also be seen in some plants referred to as the carnivorous plants. So the hallmark of holozoic nutrition is that the organism eats its food. It first of all searches for its food, eats it, digests it, and then absorbs it. So crocodile is a typical example of a holozoic animal. So crocodile feeds on smaller animals like the fishes. So if crocodile sees a fish, it will eat it, a process called ingestion, taking it into the body. It will digest it, and it will absorb it into the bloodstream. So this is what holozoic nutrition is all about. The organism eats its food as solid organic material, digests it, and absorb it into the body. So holozoic nutrition is a type of nutrition, is a type of heterotrophic nutrition in which an organism obtains food as solid organic material, eat, digest, and absorb it into the body. And like I said, it is seen mostly in animals, but it can also be seen in some plants referred to as the carnivorous plant. So examples of organisms that exhibit or carry out holozoic nutrition are the crocodiles, fish, birds, amoeba, snake, paramecium, man, goat, arthropods, sundew, bladderwort. So the sundew and the bladderwort, they are examples of plants. They are examples of carnivorous plants. Carnivorous plants. And they feed on insects. They feed on insects. They obtain the insects as solid organic material. They eat it, digest it, and absorb it into their body. And the reason they do this is to compensate for the loss of nitrogen. So loss of nitrogen in their body. So this is a very important fact. So let's look at this question, this 2010 JAMB question. The mode of nutrition of sundew and bladderwort can be described as, so like I said, sundew and bladderwort, they are examples of carnivorous plants. And as carnivorous plants, that means they feed on flesh. And the flesh they feed on is the insect. They feed on insects. And the reason for that is to compensate for the loss of nitrogen in their body. So, the mode of nutrition of sundew and bladderwort can be described as, is it saprophytic? It is not saprophytic. Is it holozoic? Yes, it is holozoic, because they are carnivorous plants. They feed on insects. So, first thing first, they catch the insect, they eat it, they digest it, and they absorb the nutrients from it into their body. So the mode of nutrition of sundew and bladderwort can be described as holozoic. Is it chemosynthetic? No. Is it autotrophic? No. So the mode of nutrition in sundew can be described as, in sundew and bladderwort can be described as holozoic. So holozoic nutrition, like I said, is a type of nutrition in which an organism obtains food as solid organic material. They eat it, digest it, and absorb it into the body. And like I said, it is mostly seen in animals. And examples are crocodile, fish, bird, amoeba, snake, paramecium, man, goat, arthropod, sundew, bladderwort, Venus flytrap. And the sundew, bladderwort, and the Venus flytrap are examples of carnivorous plants. So the next mode of nutrition that we have is the saprophytic nutrition.